And welcome back everybody, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. Where we left off last time, we were fighting just tons of progress, which are really annoying to kill. And are kind of hard to... Oh wait, there's people to talk to, they want us to talk to them, let's talk to these people. Elos seems lost in thought, he flinches when you draw near, sucking a sharp breath through his teeth.
What can I do for you?
You've been acting... You can start by explaining what's going on.
I wish I could. But as to walking memories and the old man who can no longer distinguish them from reality, I fear I'm at a loss.
His lips twitch into a flat smile.
And if Meerwald is to be believed, it would seem you've an uncertain future ahead.
He watches you carefully. He was a monster in his past lives. He got what he deserved.
Yet, how can you be so certain your soul does not harbor its own dark mysteries?
Eloth snugs his cloak about his shoulder. I'm gonna say I can't.
That must be difficult. Forgive my intrusion.
I want to discuss something else. How may I be of service? He looks at us with quiet attentiveness. Tell me about Eder. He looks at you in surprise. Forgotten your homeland already? No mind. Matters here have certainly kept you occupied. I've been gone for more than a year now, but I suspect I'll always think of the forests and the fields of Eder as home. We've thousands of years of history and tradition behind us, and there's a sense of dignity and responsibility that comes with that. He frowns. Of course there's baggage as well. Our imperial past is still fresh in the minds of many, as you may have noticed here. Has it been difficult to adjust to the dear wood? The people here are informal, hot-blooded. His mouth twists in a wry smile. More attentive to insult than to duty, but as long as one avoids provocation, it's easy enough to get along. He steeples his fingers. I've gotten accustomed enough to keeping my thoughts to myself anyways. How may you be of service? Any thoughts on what I should do next? He tugs at his sleeves. Meerwald urged you to seek out the Leaden Keep agents in Defiance Bay, yes? If his condition is any warning, we should find them with all haste. How long were you in Gilded Vale? Not much longer than you. As you saw, it was hardly the haven that had been advertised. That's it. Alright, you're up next.
It's good to be on the road again. A wanderlust is nothing rare in the people of Rauatai. But often I think myself alone in loving the land as much as the sea. What shall we see next, I wonder?
How are you holding up, buddy? I'm ready if you are, Kana grins. Tell me about yourself.
What shall I tell? I am Kanarua, born in the royal city of Takoa, from which rules the Ranga Nui. There. That is a solemn enough start. I am a lore chanter in the college there. Or at least a student of lore, and a chanter both.
I'm gonna perception this. The accent's right, but you don't look like you're from Rauatai. Do I not? He grins crookedly. I take your meaning. My family is from the Deadfire Archipelago, but I've never seen the islands. My parents traveled to Rauatai many years before I was born. They found more opportunity in Rauatai. My mother took to crafting cannons, aspiring pirate that she is, and my father's work with coral caught the eye of someone important, and then the Ragna Nui himself. The rest followed. What else would I like to know? What made you leave the college?
I was on the usual path at first. Theology, the traditions, when the Gate of Great Teeth was completed. It was all my father had hoped for. The greatest commission he had ever received. But it was also a sign that Rauatai was changing, looking inward. Meanwhile, I was neck-deep in the writing of a dozen nations, marveling at all the things that lay beyond our borders.
And in so many of these books and records, I found accounts of ancient Engwith. The Adirans hold a great hunger for Engwithan artifacts. And why shouldn't they? It was a civilization from which the Glenfathans learned to read souls. I decided that my third degree would be in history, and that I would study the Engwithans. They were at the heart of so much discussion abroad, so many discoveries. It drew some mockery. We'd watched Eder draw itself into several conflicts with the Glenfathans over these ruins. Takoa had its own concerns. And soon I found it, a section of the Tanvi Oratoa, in an Aediran translation of ancient Engwithan script, just there, without explanation. It seemed like a gift from the gods. What else would I like to know? Tell me about the lore chanters. My eldest brother thinks we spend our days in song, weaving wreaths from flowers, but the truth is far less exciting than that. The college preserves what knowledge our people have gathered. I would have it said that the lore chanters are Rauatai, for without them, we would have no beginning, no sense of how far we've come. We would forget ourselves with every generation. I'm only a student yet, but one day I'll return and tell the keeper what I learned, and she will add my verses to the chant. What else? What's this great gate teeth? Gate of great teeth. Much as it sounds, a maze of walls like the teeth of some nautical terror. It sits outside the city and guards Tekoa from invaders and storms. The storms have always been more trouble. Nua Tanri, the angry titans throwing themselves at Roatai's shores. Invaders I'm not so sure about. But perhaps I'm the man who, being dry, throws off his rain cloak during a storm. Kinda laughs, so my mother would have me believe. And what's a Ragnadui? A king, our great king, ruler over all of Roatai. He's led our people well, and he has treated my family very well. My father and he are great friends, as much as one can be friends with the king. Any other questions? Oh yeah, tell me about Roatai.
Ah, Rawatai. Shall I describe the pearl-white sands, the sapphire waters, the multi-hued tiles of the rooftops, like a mosaic upon the coast? Sorry.
Was there something specific you wanted to know? Tell me about the kingdom of Roatai in general. It's a long journey by ship to the north, past Ixamital, there we go, and across the sea. We have settled much of the Gulf and established more recent trading colonies all along the coast. We live as best we can, like anyone else. Our land is plagued by storms, and so we stand together, whatever corner of Roatai we hail from, otherwise we'd never survive. Tell me about the city you're from, Tekoa.
Tekoa is doubly famed, a royal city and home to the Coral Harbor. The Ranganui's palace is there, and we've a fleet of royal ships sitting outside the Gate of Great Teeth. Every so often, you'll hear the roar of a cannon being tested.
The finest ships in Roatai, and so the world, are anchored there, and some of our brightest minds toil away at the artillery. My mother, for instance. Kana grins brightly. Myself, I have no talent with gunpowder. That's not true at all, you're using an Arpicus. But anyways, Tekoa is also home to the Lore College, of course, and we get a great many people traveling long distances to speak with the lore keeper, or else hear the chants and peruse books. At least that is how it was when I was younger. Things were a little different when I left. How so? You might say the winds are changing. The Pahari, they are traditionalists in a way. The Ragnanui's son stands among their number. Talk at the dinner table has changed from how far a fleet Rautai ship might sail to how well defended our borders are, how far we have turned from the old ways. Then talk turns to barring Adiran and Valen merchant ships, and, Kana sighs, things were difficult when I left. There was much arguing among the elders. I trust the king has kept a peace, but I worry sometimes that things have taken a turn for the worse. I'm not going to be the cruel one on this one. So you're, maybe I will. So you're a mewling milksop. Well, one of us ought to be. It'll make you look all the fiercer, Kana smiles crookedly. I know the value of good blades and a strong fleet. That's never been a point of contention. But the kingdom that isolates itself is vulnerable to all those who look abroad. That's true. But that's Roatai's lessons to learn. Perhaps I was foolish to think I could change its course on its behalf. We're not done talking yet. What is the sacred book you're looking for?
The Tanvi Oratoa. It's not really a book. It's been passed down over the years in the form of a chant. I actually found it a little strange at first, seeing it set down in stone. It's not quite the same as a song of worship, though we have paeans to the gods as well. More a kind of moral guide. It gives us something to aspire to. The, model of a virtuous citizen of Rauatai.
Why look for it out here?
There have been arguments as to the chant's true interpretation. New translations even. But any rendition of it I find in the ruins of Engwith will predate those translations by 2,000 years. And finding it here also proves that we still have much to gain from trading with other cultures. I'd be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to seeing the look on everyone's faces when I get back. But in the long term, I just think that we can learn a lot from the Engwithians. A civilization like that is something to aspire to. A model for Rauatai as a whole, and not just its people. And I want to prove that all of this is worthwhile. Traveling, seeing the world for what it is. It's been so different from sitting in the Chanter Hall and studying books.
You came all this way just to win an argument.
More or less. It wasn't a popular theory when I suggested it. The idea that we shared the Tanvi Oratoha with some older culture, doesn't mean it's not true.
Alright.
It doesn't help that my family is from the Deadfire Islands. If I had a copper pond for every chanter who suggested that it's just not in my nature to conquer, my siblings, My parents, they make up for it. They build walls and cannons and ships. I've tried to explain. It isn't that I think those things aren't necessary, but if Rauatai closes itself off from trade, turns on its own people over tradition, we will fall behind, and then we'll be the ones getting conquered. I think my father tries to understand at least.
So describe this virtuous citizen.
Dutiful, learned, honest. The sticking point is loyal. Loyal to the people of Rauatai above all others. Fearless in their defense, and bold in aspiration. Tireless in battle or industry. An inspiration to one's people. But it seems it's not that far a leap from there to the idea that we must cast out foreign influences.
Is that what you aspire to be?
Doesn't everyone want to be a good citizen?
You think the Engwithans were the true authors?
I don't know that the distinction is necessarily important. Rauatai has a long history, and our people have come from many different places. It matters less who wrote it than that I have found pieces of the verses all around the world. Wherever it came from, it will be Rauatai that decides what becomes of it. All the races and peoples of our kingdom coming together to create a great empire. You see, then, that I am loyal in my way.
I had other questions. You're being hunted by the Leaden Key? So it seems. It's all rather absurd. What harm could I possibly do to them by finding this text? Perhaps they don't like Rauatai. How did this all begin? I ran into them in Eder, or rather they sought me out. In Eder there were many people who had observed the Engwithan ruins in the Deerwood, and I spent some time conferring with the experts. In the libraries I found accounts of sites in Examital, and it was there I traveled next, but just before that I found myself approached by a woman in dark robes who bade me abandon my studies for my own safety. I ignored her, of course, but I began to have the sense after that of being followed, and after that, well, one ambush on the road I could call misfortune, but 3? Who are these people? I thought that it only fair to delve into their activities in turn. I found the word of a leaden key, but past that was all ravings and superstitions. I might as well have gone around asking whether someone had seen a whale flying through the air. Some might well tell me yes, but the validity of their accounts is questionable. You don't seem worried about this. They haven't had much luck. The last one came up on me at a dig site and slipped on a muddy beam. I tried to catch him, reflex I should think, but he went right over the side and down 100 feet. I'm not really sure what he had in mind, but I doubt that was it. I had other questions. Do you know anything about this place? That's it. Sorry. Hit the wrong button. Not a thing. I'll take some notes. Let's be on our way. We won't talk to Eder yet. We've had enough talking for now. Maybe we'll do it before we leave this area. I'm hoping he won't be as... That's a lot of lions. That is a lot of lions.
Stand still.
That's a crap ton of lions. And our ranger's gonna die.
Yes?
Probably. Well, let's see if we can save her life. It's a lioness.
Curse your eyes!
We might be able to
Yes?
save her life.
Yes?
Actually, we can totally save her life. Let's just heal her. Oh, never mind. She died right before I healed her. Although now I deeply regret not healing my main group. My fighting group, because they are getting pushed on a little bit. The lioness is almost dead. Both lionesses are almost dead, I should say.
What?
Alright, one lioness dead. Kill the second lioness.
How may I?
That elder lion actually hits really hard. Come on, kill it off. There we go, we should be okay now, I think. They have lots of life though. Definitely give them that. Let's see if we can finish these things off. Okay, we should be good. Whew. And Kana can level up. That's excellent.
Yes.
That was a lot of
As you
lions.
wish.
And a corpse. Looks like a sacrifice. A hearth harvest is an axe with interfering, burning, lash, and rending. Sounds fancy.
Hey, all right then.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, and our priest leveled up too. Excellent. He's gonna get more mechanic skill because he is our lockpicker. And we got a bunch of new spells. Let's take a look at them.
What?
So level 3 spells. We have Pillar of Faith, which does crush damage. We have Restore Moderate Wounds, which is really nice. We have Circle of Protection, bonus to defenses and combat, which we will be using quite a lot, I think. Despondent Blows, Dire Blessing, which is critical hits. And Warding Seal. Fancy.
Well,
And of course Kana gained a level, which I'm guessing means he'll get another song? Oh good, yes. Now we can do things 2 ways. So we can either do Sure-handed Illa Noctur Arrows of Speed, which gives reload speed time increase and rate of fire increase. Or we can do the 1 dozen stood against the Power of the Saint, which is defense against frightened attacks, defense against terrified attacks. Which isn't as good. So I think we're going to do the Sure-handed Illa Noctur Arrows of Speed. Which means that we should probably set up our chant. We don't need that one. We just want these 2. That's going to be our song, our chant. Those 2 back and forth forever.
what?
And I think we're almost done in
Yes.
this area, actually. It would appear so. We have a little bit of exploration to do over here. Just to take a look at what's on the road. And I'm hoping the next area is going to be the town, so that we can go get our chanter. Or not chanter, we have a chanter. Our cipher. And maybe see if there's anything to buy in terms of weapons. Or we can do enchantments, I guess. Also, let's check our stronghold. How long until this thing is done? Nothing new to report, but I don't know how long it's been since we left. It was 18 hours, so if we do another 18-hour trip, it still won't be 3 days, so. I really, really want to have our main keep upgraded so that I can upgrade other things. We have lots of gold for it, so we may as well. We haven't really spent any of our gold on stuff. Alright, I'm guessing that's it for this area. Cool. There's a little bit we missed there, but I don't think there's anything important there, probably. It is time to go to... Oh, we're not there yet. So, Stormwall Gorge is next. Only 2 hours away. We're actually just going to talk to Eder here.
That old watcher. I don't know what I expected, but it sure wasn't that.
You said you had some things you wanted to ask him.
Nah, it's kind of embarrassing now. I just got a dumb idea in my head is all. Don't know why I thought it'd work. It's funny. That's probably the first thing I got my hopes up for in, I don't know, years. At least I got that out of it.
What was it?
All right. Guess fair is fair, and you did bring me to see him. Those rumors back in Gilded Vale about my brother, Woden. About how he turned against us and fought for Widewind. Been on my mind for some time now. Thing about Woden was, he always knew what was right, and that's what he'd do. One day he set out to fight for Deerwood against a man claiming to be our god. So I knew that's what I had to do too. It was right. But hearing claims that he died fighting for Rayed Saris, that got me worried. Not that he'd chosen the wrong side, but that I had. Didn't seem right what Widewind had in store, but if he really was Aethys,
He shakes his head.
I thought, maybe this old watcher would know how my brother died. So so I could see if it was true. Like he could, I don't know, read it in my soul or something. Use our connection. Told you it was dumb.
You're right, you should be
Of
embarrassed.
course, I knew the truth deep down. The Watcher's not psychic. I think I just had this idea, and the idea made me feel a certain way, and I didn't want to lose that.
Really, if I wanted to find out about my brother, I shouldn't be starting with Watchers, I should be starting with records. So why don't you? Eder thinks a moment, his lips twisted to one side, and he raises his eyebrows. If there was anything written down about it, they'd have it in Defiance Bay. They've got an archive at the palace.
You've done a lot for me already, but if you could see fit to pay that archive a visit with me, well, you know. Knowing my luck, the records clerk will go crazy and try to kill me. I'd feel better with you in there with me.
You got it, champ. I'm trying to be as cruel as possible, because it increases our stuff. As our god, I guess. Or our
Yes.
faction sort of god thing. Definitely likes cruelty. I'm going to pause the video here. I know that
Yes.
we're only at 21 minutes, but I don't want to start a new
course.
area with only like a couple minutes left. So like always, if you guys have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next area. Or next video, I guess. In this area.